In this video, I am going to share with you 7 money habits that keep you from becoming a millionaire. Understanding and executing these habits will lead to a better life, and the financial independence is almost certain. If you would like to improve your financial situation, then pay special attention to this story. First, let me introduce James. He is 50 years old and already retired with a large 7-figure bank account. He did not go to university and had a very basic start when he was 20. Back then, he wanted to become rich and retire early. There was no plan and no clear action set out to achieve this goal. As he still had his whole life ahead of him, there was no rush, so he thought. He soon bought his first car with a bank loan of $40,000 and worked at the local car dealership as a mechanic. On weekends, he and his friends went for skiing and various weekend trips to explore the country. To keep up with this lifestyle and to pay off the car loan, James worked as a taxi driver on weekdays in the evenings as well. He tries very hard to save money, but at the end of the month, there was nothing left. As his friends were all in a similar situation, he did not worry about it too much. One evening on his taxi job, he picked up a passenger from the airport. Little did he know that this person was about to change his life forever. The person he picked up was the German engineer. He heard of him before, but didn't realize it in the first moment. They were chatting for a while and he explained why this taxi job on top of the mechanic profession kept him afloat and that he wants to become a millionaire one day. The German engineer understood this challenge well and offered James to be his mentor. He promised to teach him 7 habits that keep people poor. But applying this knowledge would make him a millionaire before he turned 50. They would have a call once every 2 weeks for 1 year. But there was one condition that the German engineer set. If James failed to follow the advice, he had to pay for all the time his mentor invested in him, and the support would stop immediately. James was hesitant first, but excited about the opportunity, so he accepted the offer. This is the journey of James, learning and applying all 7 habits. 1. Keep up with other people. James and his friends enjoyed nice cars, going out for dinner in expensive restaurants, and always buying the most modern designer clothes, as well as technical gadgets to keep up with everyone else. This was a vicious cycle, as most money was spent on things he could not really afford to impress his friends and people he didn't even like. He followed the first advice and did not go out to dinners or weekend trips as often as before, stopped buying expensive clothes, and kept his phone for as long as it would work. His friends felt pity for him. Following this advice was the most difficult thing in his life, as he started to feel lonely and depressed. His self-confidence went down as a consequence. On their next call, his mentor promised him that this painful situation is part of the process and it will get better. But before, there is some more work ahead. 2. You are the average of 5 people around you. Next, James had to read a study by social psychologist Dr. David McClelland of Harvard. The result of this study showed that people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure in life. Or, simply put, the 5 people closest to you are a reflection of who you are or who you can become. This is very important as your close circle can either support you or pull you down. James started to reflect on his friendships as most of them joked about his new direction. They held him back instead of encouraging him. Consequently, he reduced the time spent with them to a minimum. Soon, he surrounded himself with new people that became close friends. They shared his new way of life and supported his ambition. The conversations were more deep and engaging. A large part of his time is now also dedicated to reading and implementing what he learned. 3. Pay yourself last. With this new lifestyle, he had some of his salary left at the end of the month after all expenses and bills were paid. This he put into his saving account. In their next call, the mentor explained that this was a good start, but there is a lot more to learn. James was paying himself last. This was better than not saving at all, but also not very helpful in building up his wealth. Instead, he had to pay himself first as soon as the salary was in his account, before any other expense was paid. This was a big step on his way to become a millionaire. The continuous discipline required for paying yourself first would later help him to take full control over his finances. 4. Debt. His monthly loan payments were increasing rapidly, taking more and more out of his monthly salary. The car loan was not the only one. He used to buy his phones with monthly payment plans, bought ski equipment regularly with credit cards, and sometimes bought new computer or technical equipment using small loans. Simply put, all of this is called bad debt, as it is used for consumer goods only. There is such a thing as good debt. It can be very powerful when used as leverage to buy productive assets that increase in value and produce cash flow. This will be part of a different video, as there are more basics James has to understand first. His mentor strictly advised him not to buy anything with a loan from now on. Instead, he should work out a plan to pay back all open positions as soon as possible. Thinking it over for a while, James made the decision to sell his car, and he bought an old one with low price and low operating cost. He used the remaining money to pay off most of his debt in one shot. This significantly increased the monthly saving towards his future of financial independence, as he had more money to pay himself first. His previous friends, meanwhile, thought he had lost his mind. But he is now more convinced than ever to continue this path and is very excited about the next call with his mentor, as his journey is now getting really exciting. 5. No budget. During the next call, his mentor asked what his budget for rent, food, utilities, mobility, and other items is. The lesson was immediately clear after that question. He did not have a proper budget. James drafted a simple overview listing his income, deducted his target savings to pay himself first, and he deducted all the expenses. Then he compared year over year and mapped out a plan to increase his income and to reduce his expenses continuously. The additional gains would always be used to increase the savings at the beginning of each month. He did that on a regular basis and always looked for ways to improve. This was another very powerful habit that brought him closer towards achieving his goal. 6. Too much tax. James is paying a large amount of his hard-earned money to the government as taxes. His mentor showed him that there are ways to reduce these tax payments. The most common way is a leveraged loan to be used in productive assets, for example real estate. You only invest a small part as cash and get the remaining value from the bank. This is a broader topic for another video. In this step, James first learned to invest part of his money in a retirement fund with tax benefit provided by the government. This way, he could invest in the local or the global economy with his money before the tax is deducted. In other words, the government supports this way of investing. Check the internet for IRA and 401k for more details. 7. Not investing. James now had a good basis to grow his first million. But with the money in his account, plus monthly savings from his job, it would take him more than his lifetime until he was a millionaire. His mentor explained about a very basic investment into diversified ETF saving plans to participate on the growth of the global economy. James put aside $1,000 per month after implementing the previous 6 habits successfully. At the age of 50, after 30 years, he saved the sum of $360,000. This would have been his account value without investing. Can you make a guess what the value actually is with continuous investment in ETF saving plans? It is $1,460,000. This is the sum he would have, doing nothing else besides continuously adding month by month in the automated saving plans. James has reached the age of 50 and is happier than ever. His jobs at the car dealership and for the taxi company are not needed anymore. Together with his wife Maria and their dog Simba, he is traveling the world in his self-built camper van. They are taking videos of all experiences and upload them on YouTube. This turned out to be another source of stable income. Their dividends from the ETF saving plans allow them to do whatever they like, as finances are never a concern in their plans. They love to support local communities with education programs, especially for kids with special needs. James' old friends from his early 20s still work every day and struggle to pay their bills. He feels pity for them now, as their purpose in life is waiting for the next weekend to come, so they can complain together how unfair life is. Where would James be if it was not for that taxi drive with a German engineer? And would you have wished for some advice like this before you would retire? Which life would you rather have in 20 or 30 years from now? Are you willing to take action and go the path James went? Everyone can do it. It only takes commitment to follow through. If you enjoyed the story, give it a like and subscribe to my channel so you will not miss out on any update. This video was presented to you by The German Engineer, your channel for money, saving, efficiency and growth.